There are many horrible, terrible things going on in the world right now. The increasingly crumbling state of our climate and wildlife, political division on a mass scale, we're on the brink of another war, Australia was literally fucking burning. So, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to tell you my top 5 games of 2019, that's what I'm going to do about it. When the world's shit states are cranked up to maximum, I always love to diverge into my favourite form of ignorance from reality. Video games. And 2019, at least for me, was a damn decent year if I do say so myself. True, we do have to wade through plenty of the usual rank that calls itself gameplay, but for me, as someone who usually isn't the most on top with newer releases, I actually found enough to enjoy this year to warrant a top 5 of my favourites. The only rules I have for this are no upscaled remasters and no ports. Anything else is fair game. And yeah, because apparently some people don't quite get this concept, this list is of my favourite 2019 games. So I will, big shock, not share the same opinions as everyone else. So yeah, don't go expecting games like Kingdom Hearts 3, Sekiro or Death Stranding. Though I do appreciate these games, they just don't tickle me todger, so to speak. So let's divulge into my unwarranted and horrible opinions. This is my top 5 games of 2019. To some, it may seem bizarre why a small indie game about a goose terrorizing a traditional English village became one of the most iconic games of the year, but when you actually play it, you certainly begin to understand why. Despite it being a very simplistic and minimalist experience, Untitled Goose Game spills charm by the gallon. As said, you control a goose as you wander through areas of this village, completing tasks on your checklist, mainly stealing people's possessions, breaking things, and generally being a nuisance and causing chaos. In its most simple form, this is an arsehole simulator. Where is your god? Where is your god now? Despite the simplicity of the gameplay, it is very fun and addictive, and combined with the charm in seeing the consequences of your actions, it's wonderfully fun. But I guess that's also where the game's weaknesses lie. It is ultimately a one and done novelty. Despite the fun gameplay and hysterically fun and charming premise, once you've experienced what little it has to offer, you've experienced it. But for what it is, it manages to create such an amusing and enjoyable romp within such a short time frame. It's the perfect definition of short and sweet. Game of the year, bitches. Luigi's Mansion is one of those cool niche ideas of a game that I'm really glad got to come back in more recent years, simply due to its creativity and unique style within the Mario franchise. I've played through the original but not the sequel, but I was surprised to see just how well the third installment built upon existing mechanics to create a much more interactive and engaging game. Taking place within a hotel, Luigi's Mansion 3 combines the structure of the first 2 games, with each floor acting as its own sort of level, with some being open-ended and some being linear, while also allowing for a vaster amount of variety. True, it does diverge a bit from the more darker and exploration-based style of the original game, but I think it more than makes up for it in its innovation in gameplay and ideas with a more expansive moveset. Not only making basic ghost combat and capturing a lot more strategic, but also allows for some incredibly well-designed and really creative puzzles. It really utilizes brand new concepts like Luigi and the suction shot, for example, in a surprisingly large variety of ways. And that combined along with the vast range of level themes on different floors made for such a fun experience that had plenty of new things to ensure no 2 floors felt the same. It has tons of character with all the different boss ghosts and their unique personalities, the smooth and charming animations, and despite a lot of the extra side stuff like gems and booze ultimately being fairly pointless aside from giving you a high score, I still very much enjoyed my time with Luigi's Mansion 3. You can pet the ghost dog! You can pet the ghost dog! You can pet the ghost dog! Enough said. I was so happy when I found out that Playtonic Games were developing another game, because I feel like I was one of the few people that enjoyed Yooka-Laylee. I love 3D platformers to my core, and though Yooka-Laylee wasn't perfect, I had a lot of fun with it. So I was surprised to see that for their next game, they were tackling yet another genre from their devs' past, this time traditional 2D platformers. More specifically, the style of titles like Donkey Kong Country, with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, a title that it certainly lives up to. Now, I think what made me love this game more than anything is that it gave me a whole new appreciation for 2D platformers. I'm more so versed in 3D platformers myself, but through some ingenious and creative level design, brilliantly smooth controls, it gave me a whole new outlook for the genre. The game has you playing as Yuka and Laylee, trying to stop Capital B from taking over the Royal Stingdom. Lot of fucking B puns in this. And in order to do so, we must beat the Impossible Lair, an insanely hard and long as hell gauntlet that will most likely kill you very quickly. So in order to stand the best chance, you need to go through each unique and brilliantly designed level in the game, rescuing all of the B-Tallion members, with each member you rescue giving you an extra hit inside the Impossible Lair. Though should you want to, the option of tackling the Impossible Lair, should you think you are up to it, is there at any time. Yet if you choose the latter, you would be missing out on some truly wonderful platforming gameplay, with a great variety in levels that are accessed from a very in-depth overworld, which in itself has many puzzles to solve and provides a unique gameplay style all its own. The features like the altering level states providing a whole new take on previously explored levels was fantastic, and the tonic system as well provided a great sense of strategy. It was just really well designed and thought out, and it made me realise, oh shit, what other great platformers like this have I been missing? And when a game can do that by showcasing the best of what a genre has to offer, that's a worthy success to me. And it makes me really excited to see what we can expect from Playtonic in the near future. I never used to understand the love of the horror genre in all forms of media, especially in video games, since it's a more immersive medium. Fear to me is a negative and unpleasant emotion. Why would I want to feel it? But after experiencing my number 2 pick, I also came to realize that there is an excitement and fun thrill to being scared. And what better way to learn that than with perhaps the most poignant horror game series of all time, Resident Evil. More specifically, the most recent Resident Evil 2 remake. My experience with the series has been limited. I have dabbled in 4 and 7, but only ever fully played through the first one. Even so, to me, this feels like the most refined of the series, taking what worked with the original Resi 2 with its concept, story, and design, but opting for the more fluent and manageable gameplay style of Resi 4 with the gloriously grotesque graphics from 7. It takes Resident Evil 2 and completely redefines the game and provides one of the most intense, atmospheric and engaging games I have ever played. This game shows the best of Resident Evil and the horror genre for that matter by allowing the fear to come naturally, through limiting your supplies and leaving it down to your own intuition on how to survive, placing you in the well-designed, dark, claustrophobic Raccoon City Police Department and surrounding areas, up against plenty of vicious zombies, lickers and all sorts of fucked up shit, including the fuddy motherfucker himself, Mr. X. I am wallowing in my own shit right now. It's not forceful, doesn't rely on cheap methods, and puts it all on your own determination to cope with exploring, surviving, solving puzzles, and fighting off enemies under increasingly tense circumstances. Yet, even then, it still manages to retain that slight cheesy charm that early Resident Evil games had. It took the concept of the original Resi 2 and used all the best elements of the series from that game since to refine and rebuild the game to create perhaps the definitive Resident Evil experience. Much like how Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair made me appreciate 2D platforms a lot more, Resident Evil 2 Remake does the exact same for horror, and it makes me even more insanely excited for the Resident Evil 3 Remake later this year. I'm already prepping far in advance. I mean, it's probably the most obvious thing in the world. Like, no shit this was gonna be my #1 game of the year. Like, I devoted my entire channel to this game for over half a year. Now, despite the fact that I have been fairly vocal about some of the more flawed aspects of the game, as an overall package, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is an absolutely incredible game. Not only for how it recreated my favourite PS1 game ever with such great attention to detail in the tracks and a solid recreation of the fluent, smooth and satisfying control mechanics, but also how it built upon it, not only going as far to incorporate new game modes, all the tracks and characters from Crash Nitro Kart, the insanely fun kart and character customization, but also a great slew of post-launch content with the Grand Prix, adding brand new tracks and karts and reintroducing many long-lost fan-favourite characters from across Crash's history, even to its most obscure corners. It went from being an almost perfect recreation of what is, in my opinion, the greatest kart racer of all time, into also a celebration of Crash Bandicoot as a franchise. Now, like all things, it's not 100% perfect, as I have stated plenty times on this channel before. Stuff like microtransactions and the 1 per coin earn rates are not ideal, and the online is still in a bad state. But when I step back and see the game for what it is overall, it's simply the most fun I've had with any video game in a long time. And I think I will always cherish it personally because of how it helped me grow my channel. And though I don't intend on making this game my sole focus, there's no denying how this game has brought me closer to the Crash fan base, and that's been a fantastic experience just to share the progress of this game's life cycle with all of you, and that's something I will never forget. For all these reasons, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is undeniably my favourite game of 2019. And there we go, my top 5 games of 2019. What a year it's been for me in video games, not only providing some great gaming experiences, but also allowing me to share that with all of you guys. Seriously, it's been awesome. And now I'm sure 2020 is going to be even bigger. Not only am I hoping to broaden this channel to much more in gaming, but we have so much to look forward to, with so many huge releases this year and the start of a whole new console generation. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, it really does mean so much. Feel free to like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you all in the next video. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get back to being a dick.